Hi, in this video we want to look at some traditional use of the Excel function. Now in the previous videos we've been using Excel for what it is known for, all the estimations, the calculations and so much more, but we're going to use it in a traditional way. Assuming you have a scenario where, let me just navigate to the desktop. Okay, so this is my desktop. It's my desktop, and you have a list of employees, about 17 as we have here, but it's a file. So basically you have a list of files and you need to transfer this into Excel. So if it's just 17 as it is, maybe if you spend about 30 minutes, depending on the speed of the speed that your typing speed, you'll be able to finish it. But if there are like 1,000 or hundreds, it will be very difficult to type them one by one. You probably will use days to do that, but Excel can do that in less than 3 minutes, and that is what we're going to use Excel to do. So I'm going to, first of all, you need to arrange it alphabetically, so that like B is a very like alphabetically. I mean, we all know that. So let's go back to Excel and use Excel to do some magic. Great. Now the very first thing we need to do is to get the address of the location of the file. So we'll go back to our folder. Now the address is simple. When you go to my desktop, you will see a folder called employees. When you double click, that is where you will find the files. If I go back to the desktop, this is the file I'm talking about. I'll double click and then I'll find it here. So we need to obtain the address of these files, and to do that you simply click on in the address bar here, and once you do that you copy. You already see that it's selected, so you copy it. So if your document or whatever you're working with, it is inside a folder, of course it must be in a folder. If it is inside a folder that is in my document, then you need to click in my document, click in that folder, and once you do that you just have to click here in the address bar, and then you can copy the address of the location of the files. So we'll go back to our Excel workbook and paste the address bar anywhere we want. I've pasted it here exactly as it appears there. Please ensure it appears the same way as you copied it. So I'll double click this and add a backslash and add a star. That's the only thing you add at the first stage. So we are done with step 1. I believe it's simple. Let's go quickly to step 2. In step 2, we're going to give this cell a name. We covered that earlier. So I'm going to click here, the cell we are working with, and then I'll say define name. And then in this dialog box, we see a couple of things. The first one is name. So we'll give it a name. Let's say we want to give it employee, maybe employee list, any name you want. In fact, let me just say EMPL. Leave the workbook as it is, then comment to leave it as it is. Then in this very box we're going to type a function. It's called a files function. So equal to files, we introduce a bracket, and then you select the cell, you close the brackets, and you click OK. What it means is that now the content of this cell has now been given a name, which is EMPL. So I'm going to type here, and I'll type equal to, and then I will introduce a function we are very familiar with it, index. The index function, we covered it extensively when we're looking at index and match. So I'll type index, and then I'll just give that a double click. We're using the very first one. Actually, we don't need a lot of the arguments there. So the first thing to type is the EMPL. Okay, I did one earlier, so we're actually referring to this one. This is the one we all created right now. So I'll double click that, and that is selected. I'll put a comma, and I'll type 1, close the brackets, and I'll hit enter. Did you just see that? Okay, so what Excel has done is that it has given us the name of the very first person. So let's go back into the folder. Exactly. Let's go back and double click the function and delete 1 and type 2. The second person, let's go back and see. The second person is Christiana Abena. Okay, now this changing the 1 and 1 and copying might be very tedious. So what we'll do actually is that we're going to double click and delete the 2 for now. Okay, let's leave it as it is and come to maybe here in column E and type 1, 2. Okay, we can't type it all throughout. All you do is we can just even delete this one, drag it all the way to say 80, and it's all one. So what you have to do is to, we covered this earlier, you click on the small box here and then pick fill series, and Excel will fill the series, so it's counted all the way. And then we're going to double click this, and instead of typing manually, I'll just click on 1 here and then I'll hit enter. So it gave me the very first person's name. Okay, so now if we want to find the second person's name, we need to type 2 like we did, but because we have them here, we just need to drag and Excel will be picking. So you see that this one says E2. We covered this absolute time relative reference, and we can go all the way. There are 17 people, so after the 17th person, Excel will start giving us errors. If I double click this, you see it's making reference to the 17th person, and that's it. This is super easy. Excel can do this and so much more. I'll encourage you to practice this. If you have any question, please feel free to put it in the comment section and we'll be happy to assist you. But before we go, I'm going to run through this again very quickly because the very first one we took our time. So let me just delete everything here. Delete. And like I mentioned, we have a folder full of files. In this case, it is 17. But assuming there were 1,000 and you need to type the names of all of them, that's going to be very tedious for you to do. So we're going to employ Excel to do that for us. And I mentioned that we need to locate the location of where the files are. And in this case, I just have to click where they are, navigate to wherever they are, click here as in the address bar, and then you copy the location. Let's move to our Excel file, paste it anywhere, maybe somewhere here, and then you just paste it. Once you paste it, make sure you add a backslash and a star. You hit enter. We're going to give this cell a name. That's the next step. So I'm going to click in the cell, navigate to formulas, and then define name. I'll click that and let's give it a name. Let's say school. The name is school, and then leave the workbook blank, leave the comment blank. Leave the workbook as it is, comment blank. Then here refers to, we select everything here, we delete everything here, then we type equal to, we are introducing a function which is the files function. We introduce a bracket and then we click in the cell C2 and then we close the brackets, we click OK. Second step completed. I'll double click to auto fit. Okay, so now we're going to use the index function to in the next step. So I'll type equal to equal to index, and then I'll double click. Okay, so what is the array? We're going to type school, which is the name we gave. So I'll double click that. Reference is being made. I'll introduce a comma and then I'll type 1 and then I'll close the brackets, hit enter. We have the first person's name. Now the next thing to do is to make it variable. So we're going to type 1 all the way to the number of files you're expecting. So I'll click, and as we have this here, the autofill options will allow us to convert from copying to filling the series. So it means that, like, this is easy. We've covered this earlier. Let me not waste time on that. So instead of typing 1, I'm just going to make a reference. I'll delete this and select F1 and I'll hit enter. Once I do that, I just have to drag all the way and all the names are listed for us. Now quickly, we covered this earlier, but let me just add it here. So let's this cannot be deleted. Let's know that if you delete this, the formula will be affected. If I delete, okay, Excel is telling me I have an issue. So let me undo, and then we have our data here. But if you have this and say you copy it, you go to maybe another sheet somewhere else and then you just paste it, you have the values here for you. Let's increase the size a little bit. Okay, but these things have extensions. This is a PDF file, a Word version, so it's docx. There's a picture, and there's also so you don't want that. It's easy. How do you do this? The very first thing to do is to type the first name Bright and add Anani, and then you hit enter. You've done the very first one. That's all you have to do. The next thing you have to do is to press Ctrl and E, and Excel fills the rest for you. It works like magic. So if assuming these were about 1,000 files, in about 3 minutes you've been able to list the entire names just like that. I would encourage you to practice this. If you have any question, please leave it in the comment section and we'll be happy to address it for you. See you in the next one.